I'm Sarah, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be my first of hopefully 2 videos, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be 2, of all the books I read this summer. So, excluding June, I've already done my June wrap up. This is kind of my new attempt at doing recent reads, because to be perfectly honest, I've gotten bored with them, with the format of recent reads that I've been doing. I've kind of gotten like really bored of it and really annoyed by it, so thanks to your guys' help in answering the polls I've been putting out in my community tab, which I do this occasionally when I'm trying to figure out what you guys like to watch and what you want to see from me. So if you want to weigh in on those polls in the future, continue to check out my community posts because that's where I'll put them. But anyways, I asked you guys a couple of different questions of how you would like me to do recent reads, and I gave some examples. So this is the one that won the most. So I'm going to be trying it. It's kind of a ranking system. And since I had so many books from July and August, which is what I'm wrapping up here since I've already done June, I decided to split it up into fantasy novels for the first one, and the second video is just going to be everything else. So because I read a lot of fantasy, like I generally do, this of course includes like fairy tale retellings. And there's a portal fantasy, there's a couple others. So yeah, and these are all novels. So any like manga, graphic novels, nonfiction, whatever other genre I read will be in the next video. We're just gonna try that. We're gonna see how it all goes. But for now, that's how I'm going to be trying to do it, at least in this video. In each star rating category that I'm going to be doing, I will be ranking them from worst to best. Some of these are like the 4-star books. It's kind of just a matter of some I enjoyed a little bit more than others, but they're like really close. So yeah, it's not like it's worse as in I hated the book, especially in the higher rankings. It's just which one I had the most enjoyment out of at the time of reading. I hope that's not confusing. If it is, feel free to ask in the comments and I'll answer your questions because I'm still trying to figure this out. But before we get into all that, as usual, all the reviews I have for all of these books, there are a few I don't have reviews for due to them being DNFs, but all the other books that I do have reviews for, I will leave linked in the description, so you can check those out for more content information, for checking out the description of the book, because I will not be going into long descriptions about these books because I ramble too much with those. So I'm just going to give basic information, and if the book sounds interesting based on my thoughts, please look up the description on like Goodreads or Amazon or whatever, for further reference. So yeah, we're gonna be trying that. Hopefully the videos will be shorter then, we'll see. Those reviews will be linked in the description for content details and further thoughts, because I'm probably not gonna get into great depth about any of these books, mainly because it's been a while since I've read them. So yeah, and these are only books I read in July and August. The September, like October, fall type ones, I'll be doing a different video on. So, with that out of the way, we're going to start with the DNFs. I have several. These I didn't put in any ranking order because I didn't finish any of them, obviously. So the first one in the DNF category is Lorial Nestraya by Elizabeth Ashe. This is like it's a romantasy, it's a clean romantasy between elves, I think. Yeah, that's pretty much all I know. I DNF'd at 7%. I found it pretty boring, and the noticeable... Okay, it was written in present tense, and I normally don't notice that. I don't care about tense generally. I don't really tend to notice it. Half the time I think my brain switches present tense to past tense because it's just the way my brain works. But this one I noticed it was written in present tense, and it was extremely annoying. And it was just so weirdly noticeable. I don't know why. I just couldn't get into the book, even at 7%. Normally I give a book a little bit more of a chance, but this one was just like, I just don't care. Another one I DNF'd was The Inn at the Forest Edge by Raymond. I saw this in one of the Clean Fiction magazines, and it looked interesting. My library actually had a copy. The cover's pretty. It sounded like an intriguing premise. It's very small. It's only a novelette. I don't have the book, so I can't show you the length of it, but it's pretty much like this size. It's not very big. And I just didn't like the writing style for this one. It was very stiff, very awkward. When characters spoke, they sounded like robots. It was just very much a first author try, but I also couldn't get enough into the story to care to get past that awkwardness, so I just DNF'd that one. I don't even know if I read that much. I might have read like 7 pages. I don't even remember. So yeah, the next one, I think I got a little further. I think I got like 13 to 16% in this one. And this one is, I talk more about in my last vlog, which I will link in the description, where Lindsay from BFCG and Celestria picked books for me to read. This was one of them, and that is To Sway a Bard by Angela J. Ford. I think I DNF this one at like 13 or 16% in. And I give more details as to why in that vlog, so if you want more context on that, please watch that video. For what I remember now, it was just dull. I didn't care. The characters didn't connect with me. That was that. And the other book that is also in that same vlog that I DNF'd, and would be on the worst of the DNFs if I was ranking DNFs, but I'm not going to bother with that, and that is Water Princess, Fire Prince by Kendra E. Ardnek. This is Christian Portal Fantasy. Why did I say it like that? It's Christian Portal Fantasy. Why in the world did I say that like that? Okay, anyways. This one I DNF'd at 7% as well, because I hated the main character. She was a spoiled brat, and if you want to see me rant about said spoiled brat, please watch the vlog. I've heard that I was very entertaining going off on that. So, yeah, I just, spoiled judgy brat of main character. I'm sure people out there like her. I did not. I could not stand her for the 7% I did read. So, that was that. Okay, so those are all the DNFs. So now we're going to go into the 2-star books. The first one is Spring of Sparkling Song by Sarah Beran. This is a first book in a fairy tale retelling series set in a fae kingdom. This is a retelling of The Magic Flute, and what is the series name? I think it's Seasons of Magic? I'll put it down here, the series title. I can never remember the series title, even though I've read like a few books in it. This one, I really wanted to like this one, but it basically boiled down to I couldn't connect with either of the main characters. I found them very annoying. I also talk about this book briefly in that vlog I mentioned. That vlog's gonna come up several times, so just know that in advance. I did talk briefly about this book in that vlog, and I couldn't get behind the main characters. I found them both annoying and very bratty again with the bratty characters. Also, I found one of the side characters, Avi, I think his name was, he was super irritating. Yeah, I agreed with every single character who thought he was annoying. I agreed. And, yeah, the quest was very basic, which I don't mind, but since I didn't like the characters, I then found the quest kind of boring because I didn't care what happened to the characters, so yeah, this one was just kind of a miss, which was disappointing because I've really liked, I really, really love one of Sarah Beran's books, and others I've liked, but this one was definitely the worst, in my opinion, by her. The next 2-star book was also in that vlog, and that is Married at Sunrise by Leigh Aloha Humphreys. This is the first book in the Incandescent Kingdom series. This is a Hawaiian-based fantasy retelling of King Thrushbeard. So, again, I talk more in detail about that book in that vlog, but basically, this one, I liked the characters well enough in this one. They were fine. I didn't have a problem with them, so to speak. I had a problem with the whole enemies to lovers is really hard for me, which is really difficult to find because most romances nowadays are enemies to lovers. So, and I always find it hard to like a lot of those just because they're so dang mean to each other at first. But I don't know, this one, I don't remember everything I disliked about it. The characters were just fine. The plot was fine. I think it was more the weird, there was a weird plot point tacked on at the end for one of the characters. Also, there was the whole like lying bit because the one character is one person, but he is also known as another person, and he goes by that name most of the time. So, but I also did appreciate how the main character didn't flip her top too much when she did find out his true identity. So the hidden identity thing, like, it's a fun idea, but I also find it really uncomfortable just because the one character is lying to the other character the whole time, and unless they have a super good reason and the other characters don't immediately flip out about it, I always just find it just oddly done. I just don't particularly care for that trope, which is also another popular one. But yeah, that's just kind of, yeah, my thoughts on that one. It was fine, for the most part, but I did have some issues with it that I don't fully remember. So reference the vlog or my review if you want to see my full details on it, but because I don't fully remember everything. So yeah, but I did like it better than Spring of Sparkling Song. I at least somewhat liked the characters. So yeah, that's why it's higher. Anyways, okay, we're now going to be moving on to the 3 stars. And the bottom of this list, there's quite a few of the 3 stars. So the bottom of this list is Illuminaire by Bryn Shutt. I still don't know how to say the author's last name. I apologize. I'm sure that was incorrect. Again, this one was in that same vlog. These 2 guys are hired to steal this book, or take this book from a palace on this horribly gruesome festival of celebrating the Lady of Death. That's pretty much it. This one, again, I could not connect with the characters. I only liked about 2 of them, and even then, I just really couldn't connect with them, which is a very important thing for me in reading, that I really want to connect with the characters, and if I can't, I usually really struggle. So I couldn't really connect with these characters. I did really like the author's writing style. Historical elements with like the wars and who's ruling now and who was a prince before and who's a prince now. That really confused me. Because I had no context of a bigger world. I had no context for what was going on, and most of the information was just kind of slammed onto you. At least for me, I need kind of, if there's no like connection to the like events of the past, like past wars, past kingdoms and stuff, I kind of need it filtered to me a little bit at a time. I was never very good with history in school, in case if that wasn't clear by all this. So I kind of smaller bits at a time work better for me. I think also if the book was bigger, this is a novella, I think if it was bigger, that would have been helpful, because then she could have spread things out more and explained things better. But yeah, that's generally my opinion about this book. It's fine. I think I might like it better on a reread, though I don't really know. I probably wouldn't reread it for a while. But I would be open to trying it again and seeing, now that I kind of know what to expect, if I have a different opinion on it. The next book is the sort of sequel novelette to Illuminaire, and that is Dawn Song. I also talked about this in that other video. It's very short, so I don't really have much to say. We're just in a different location now, following a different character than who was in Illuminaire, and one of the other characters from Illuminaire does make an appearance here. This one I did like a little better, because it was more character focused, rather than here's the bigger plot with some character things on the side. I still couldn't really connect with the characters. I still really like the author's writing style, but yeah, overall, it was just fine. So the next one is the first in a series. I'm not going to be continuing this series. I might be persuaded to continue it at some point, but for now I'm not. And that is Robbing Centaurs and Other Bad Ideas by Bethany Meyer. So this is it's like a fantasy comedy adventure. I didn't see too much comedy. That could just be my opinion. The title is super fun, though I do really like that. The series is the Scorch series. It is complete. It's a trilogy. This was very interesting because none of the characters are like human. One of the characters he's basically an ent-like tree being, and the other guy is like an angel type being. He's a guy with wings. So, and then they so there's this like magical stone that protects their land, and it's in several different pieces. All the different races on this land own a piece of it, because if like they're put all back together as one big stone, it causes like a really big magical eruption type thing. So it's like really dangerous, and if people get their hands on it, it's really powerful. So I don't remember the characters' names. No, Wick. Wick was one of the main characters. He was the Ent character. He learns through the grapevine that this seraphim angel guy, Archer, is going around and stealing these pieces of the stone. So he is entrusted with the one that the tree people have. Sorry, I forget what they're called. He's entrusted with that one to take it to a different kingdom and protect it from being stolen. However, on the way, he runs into Archer, and Archer tells him the reason he is stealing them is because he was told by a centaur prophet back in the day that, yeah, something is coming towards their land, and they need to put all the stones together and create the magical barrier around their world. However, nobody thinks there's a threat, because the threat, like, happened hundreds of years ago. But now it's coming back. So Wick now has to decide, does he help Archer or does he hinder him? And it's just kind of a quest type adventure. It reminded me a lot of kind of like Lord of the Rings, like the Fellowship of the Ring, where they're just traveling from one end of the world to the other, with just kind of crazy heists in between. Not that the Fellowship of the Ring had crazy heists in between, but this book does. And I did like that part. I did like a lot of this book. I did find it very slow in parts. This is the author's first book, so that may be the case. The second one may not have these issues, which is why this one's like an on pause that I might continue the series or not. It's not a definite, I'm not continuing the series. It's just more of a, I'm not continuing it this time, for various reasons. Because I'm not sure if I'd like it, but I'm also curious to continue. It's a fun, quick little read. If you want more of an old fantasy style version of a story, I think this would work. But yeah, it is marketed as a comedy. There were some jokes I mean, I don't really see the comedy in it, but then again, I have been told I have a screwy sense of humor, so take that as you will. Next book is a Snow White retelling, cozy fantasy. Yeah, that has, I'll get into that in a minute, but it may have killed my ability to try cozy fantasy. And that is Once Upon an Apple by Gabrielle Landy, I believe. So this one, cute cover, gorgeous cover. I really like the covers of this series. I don't really think the series is gonna be for me though. Again, it's like a cozy fantasy. These characters live in this really, like peaceful kingdom. Our main character, Sophia, ran away from a different kingdom. She now lives here tending to the manor's 7 goats, that belong to the youngest daughter. I think that, is she a princess? I forget. So Sophia takes care of them, and she ends up striking up a friendship and relationship eventually with one of the manor's sons, Caspian. And it's kind of their story, it's their romance, it's the little things that they do. Yeah, there's some danger at the end. It's a typical cozy fantasy. I did like this more than some other cozy fantasy type books I've tried. I don't know if I'm very torn on whether I will continue this series. Because on the one hand, I did enjoy it. I read it in like a day. It was the perfect little like chill out book that I needed at the time because it was a very stressful time when I read that book. I will be honest. But I don't know, at the same time, I don't remember a ton from it. I don't know. If the ebooks were put on sale, like free or 99 cents or something, I might get them. But like $4.99, no, I'm not paying that much for them because I'm not even sure I like it enough to continue. I don't know. I did enjoy the book, but at the same time, just kind of like, it was just there. It was just kind of, I don't know. It was sweet. I did enjoy that, but I don't know if I like it enough to continue. I'm very like wishy back and forth on what I'm doing with cozy fantasy because it's like on the one hand, a lot of their books sound really cool, but then on the other hand, when I start reading them, I tend to find them very slow and boring, and I don't know. It's a conundrum I haven't quite figured out yet. But anyways, that's where I land with this one. I would recommend it if you like that type of thing. The Snow White elements, it was more inspired by Snow White rather than a strict Snow White retelling. There's mentions of curses also, and I think that plays into later books, but there is, in this book in particular, there's no magic. So that might work if you prefer more non-magical fantasy, but there are vague mentions of people being cursed in the book, so that might show up later on in the series. I'm not really sure, but yeah, very cute, very cozy, so it fits the bill. And the last book for the 3-star category is Summer of the Summoned Sword by Sarah Beran. This is the second book in that same series. That's Spring of Sparkling Song is the first one. This one is a retelling of an opera called this word here, because I can't say it. So, yeah. I have no idea, but it's a very intriguing sounding story, but apparently it, from the way the author described it at the end of her author's note, ends tragically, so I'm glad she put a happy end twist on it. Anyways, I talked about this one in that same reading vlog, so I'll leave my thoughts over there for that one, but I did really like the characters of this one, at least the friendship specifically between Lowen and Sylvester. Yeah, I really liked their friendship. I did think there could have been a smidge more romantic connection between Elsa and Lowen. Lowen, I think that was his name. This was a while ago, so I apologize if I got names incorrect. But I would have preferred if there was a little bit more of a connection between the two of them, but again, they were kind of like pressed for time considering she was going to get killed off if he didn't win this tournament, so yeah, that kind of puts a damper in your relationship of getting to know people better. But, yeah, and this does tie loosely into the author's standalone novella, To Crack a Soldier, because one of the characters there does get her romance in that book. So, yeah, it was nice seeing kind of where she started and seeing that character again. But, yeah, I enjoyed this one. It was sweet. It was a fun, light read. Yeah, I recommend it. Check out the vlog for more thoughts on it. Now we're going to go into the 4 stars, which this is the largest section. So the first one I'm going to mention is the first book of a series. It is the Elves of Lessa series by K.M. Shea. The first book is Red Rope of Fate. This one was a reread. This is the series is about elf-human romances. So these are like romantasy. And in these kingdoms, the Elven Kingdom and the Human Kingdom have this alliance. They like coexist with the humans providing protection to the mostly non-fighting elves, while the elves also import like goods and trade and stuff to the humans. And part of this is that the royal children from the royal families, actually just the royal families in general from both countries, have like these bond partners, they're called, where through like a sort of magical ceremony, they have a human and an elf bond together to show like their friendship and their bonds between countries. There is one thing though, that there is a language barrier between these two countries. So most of the time they need translators to talk between the elves and the humans. So there's like a separate guild of people and elves who learn the other's language really well. So they can do that because apparently it's very hard for both separate countries to learn each other's language. Anyways, so Red Rope of Fate, they're doing this bonding ceremony, and Lady Tari is the elf, and she gets bonded to the new, I think he's the captain of the guard. He's some captain of some royal guard in the palace. Captain Aaron, I think that's how you say it. It's not spelled like Aaron, but I think that's how you say it. Anyways, during their bonding ceremony, they get this bond, and magically they can understand each other without a translator, and like without changing their language. Neither one of them knows the other language, and somehow through this bonding ceremony they can understand each other. They like consider this weird phenomenon, and yeah, it kind of goes from there. They start a friendship and things go from there. This is definitely one of the author's earlier books. Some parts are a little slow. I can definitely tell it's one of her earlier works, but it's not as kind of, how do I say this? It's not as evidently obvious. It's a first book as, say, some of her other ones, like the very first book of the Magical Rehabilitation Center. Yeah, that's the right title. Okay, I had to think about that for a minute. That series, the very first book of that one, I could definitely tell that was one of her first books. It had more rough patches. This one has less. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. Previously I had it rated as a 4.5 star. I dropped it to a 4 just because I think that's a better rating for it. But very addictive. Like the characters, the relationship, the romance is super sweet. And yeah, I really like the idea of the whole they can't communicate with each other thing. So the next book is the second book in this series. That is Royal Magic. That is between the Crown Prince of the Human Kingdom and the second princess of the Elf Kingdom. And their whole thing is that he has learned Elvish, so they can talk in Elvish together, so they don't like need translators all the time. She's trying to learn his language. And theirs is a marriage of convenience type thing. For different reasons. I can't really get into what the plot of that one's about because each of these books, there's 3 books in this series. You can read as a standalone. They do reference things that happened in the previous books though, so most of these, I think between the first 2, it's like a few months have passed. Between the second and the third one, it's like a year or 2. It's a longer period of time. So definitely 1 and 2, I would read one right after the other just because the Crown Prince does have some things that happen in the first book that relate to what goes on in the second one. That's all I can say without spoilers. Most people in like reviews say this is their favorite one. Yeah, I really enjoyed this one as well. Our girl is more of a fighter, which is very uncommon for the elves, so she's kind of looked down upon. So she enters this arranged like marriage with the Crown Prince because she wants to find more freedom away from stifling duties that kind of stifle who she truly is, and he wants to set a good image for things that happened in the first book. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one again. First time I read this, I gave it 4 stars. Second time, I gave it 4 stars again, so it's very consistent. And in case you're curious, I did read the third book, but I will be talking about that one later. The next book in the 4-star category, that is Esperanza and Other Fantasy Short Stories. This is by Michaela Bush. This is just a collection of fantasy short stories. One of them, the story Esperanza, was a winner in the Clean Fiction magazine. I think it was winter 2025 or spring. I forget which one. But yeah, this one was a winner for that. I really like that story. I really enjoyed all of these short stories. A couple of the ones at the end are leaning more into heavier topics of like allusions to human trafficking. So keep that in mind when you do read them, because a couple of the other ones beforehand are more humorous. So there's a variety in here, but yeah, a couple of them had fairy tale nods to Beauty and the Beast and Cinderella. Yeah, I really enjoyed this little collection. See, as with most short story collections, I enjoy them more if they're by one author as opposed to a short story anthology by multiple authors. That probably makes sense because then if you like a particular author, you would like their stories, even their short stories. But yeah, I digress with my sort of strange little reader analysis stuff. But anyways, yeah, I really enjoyed this one, as always with Michaela's book. So the next book I read was an ARC I got from the author, and that is To Slay a Knight Boldly by Nicki Chapelway. This is considered a standalone, but it is also a sequel to Bound by Knighthood, which is a kind of a prequel standalone novella. If To Slay a Knight Boldly sounds more interesting than Bound by Knighthood, you definitely can read them without knowing the other. The author gives enough context to what happened in the past that you don't need to read that book, but I would say read both of them because it gives more context to what happens with the two main characters, Willow and Byron. I think that's how you say his name, if I remember it correctly. Yeah, and later on that. So either way, these two have joined separate knight guilds because in this world there's multiple knight guilds and they do different things. But the thing is, they were boyfriend and girlfriend beforehand. So, but she broke up with him because she wanted to pursue more of her knighthood stuff, and I guess she didn't see a way that he would fit in. Though, okay, I do have a gripe with her because she then expected him to wait around for her when she finally decided she would want him back. And she kind of got mad when he moved on. And it's kind of like, girl, you waited too long. Like, okay, you don't just dump someone and then expect them to wait for you. Usually if you dump someone, it's for good. So I did have gripes with her about that one. So I was much more in favor of Byron's opinion on this whole thing because it was kind of like, okay, like, girl, you dumped him. What do you expect? Through a letter, no less. You didn't even dump him in person. Anyways, so she's in one night guild. He then, due to his brokenhearted state, because obviously, he joined a different night guild, which says you should stay celibate. So, this is interesting, because then they are recruited by their guild to team up as a fake couple in order to infiltrate this ball at this one night guild that like stays really secluded and nobody's been there like years. But they're hosting this ball for couples. So these two get recruited to pretend to be a couple. Yeah, you can see where this is going. To go to this ball and find out what's going on. But also at the same time, they're fighting their attraction for each other. And he, like, took vows that he shouldn't be with her. Or be with any woman, actually. And she still is mad that he joined the Paladins and became celibate. And didn't wait around for her after she dumped him. This is a mess. It's basically just romantasy drama with a little bit of the plot on the side. Which is why I think you should read Bound by Knighthood first, because it gives kind of context to where they started, and that book does end happily, so you can read that one by itself as well. But yeah, it was interesting watching these two just be like, you clearly still like each other, guys. And the ending is, it's more of an open ending. It does wrap up everything that's going on with the relationship and stuff. But it's very open ending. The author does give a reasoning as to why that is in her acknowledgement section. So if you read that and you're like, wait, why did it end this way? Be sure to read that, because she does give very good reasonings as to why she ended the story that way. But I thought it was a satisfying enough ending. I did really enjoy this book, and thank you very much to the author for giving me a copy to read and review. Even though I'm just, well, no, I did review it on Goodreads closer to the date. I'm not doing that now, but that's beside the point. Next book I have to talk about is another arc, and that is A Quest for True Love by Jess Drew. This one is a retelling of Orpheus and Eurydice. Is that how you say the names? It's a Greek myth. This is a multi-author series. This book is part of a multi-author series where their Greek myths are retold, but they have happy endings, so they don't all end in tragedy. And in this one, yeah, we follow a girl who is a daughter of a mob boss. It is set in a sort of Asian Japanese style world and culture, which I really liked. That was very fascinating. And our main guy is, he's a bard from a different kingdom. He went to this kingdom to kind of flee being accused of murder. He didn't kill anybody, he's just accused of it, so he just went to this different country, and that's that literally has nothing to do with the plot. But anyways, so through a series of events, they fall in love, but yeah, on their wedding day, his bride gets kidnapped by, like, the Lord of the Underworld, so, and he's just like, yeah, no, this isn't happening, I'm getting her back. So he goes on this quest to get her back, and it's told in a series of, most of his point of view is in the present day when he's trying to go after her and get her back. Most of her point of views are told in the past of how they met and fell in love. So I really liked the back and forth. It worked really well. And these two were just too darn cute. Yes, it is a little bit of insta-love, but it's an insta-love that works. And I really liked it. I really just liked the two of them together. They worked really well. It made sense why they fell in love and how they're acting. And yeah, I just really, really enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun. Jess Drew is a great author. I've been really enjoying her books. I've been reading a lot of her new ones and her backlist recently, and I've just really been enjoying her books. But yeah, this one was really fun. And I super enjoyed it. If you like Greek myths or the idea of retellings of those, but you don't want a tragic ending, definitely check out this series. This is the only book in that series I have read so far, but there's several more that I am eyeing. But yeah, this is so far the only one I've read, but it was really good. And thanks again to the author for giving me an arc. Next book, I don't have a ton to say because, again, it was in that reading vlog, so this should be the last book I mentioned the reading vlog. And that is Unearth the Tides by Alyssa J. Zavalanos. I still don't know if I'm saying that right. And this is a fantasy retelling of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. So yeah, this isn't sci-fi, this is fantasy. Obviously I'm doing a fantasy video, but since the book itself 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea is a sci-fi. This is a fantasy twist on it. And I super enjoyed this one a lot, more than I thought I would. I didn't actually think I would like this one much. So I kind of got the book. It's part of a multi-author series called A Classic Retold, where they retell different classics. And I kind of ignored this one. I kind of got it on sale and then just proceeded to avoid it. But thankfully, Celestia kicked my butt to read it, and I'm glad she did, because I really ended up enjoying it a lot. So yeah, so, you know, it's helpful sometimes to ask your friends to pick books for you, and they just kick your butt and make you read the ones that you've been avoiding. But anyways, yeah, really enjoyed this one. Would highly recommend. Yeah, check out the vlog for further thoughts on this one. And then the next one, I can actually show you a copy. I actually have a physical copy of this book, and that's Beyond Ash and Clay by Noelle Nichols. I got this book. It's a little short story. It's an Asian fantasy, basically about this one guy who finds a piece of pottery that has a particular meaning, and he goes in search of the original creator of said pot to kind of find his fate. And that's all I can say. Literally, it's how many pages is this? It's literally only 29 pages. I can't say much about it. But I got this book to read and review from the author, and I really love Noelle Nichols' books. I've talked about her Shadows Creed saga before on this channel a lot, and this one is separate from that series. It's its own story, and I really liked it. It was very thought-provoking. Lots of details of nature, which she's very good at, and how the potter made the clay, and then why this other character is looking for him. I just really enjoyed this. Yeah, a very thought-provoking little story. I don't really know much what else I can say about it, because it's so short. The author did draw the cover herself, which, super talented. I admire people like that. Well, I am also jealous. But yeah, she drew it. I really liked it. The whole aspect with the phoenix comes in, and yeah, it's really good. I would highly recommend it. If you like Asian fantasy, kind of a slower paced book, but more of a thought-provoking one, I would highly recommend this one. And thank you very much to the author for sending me this copy to read and review. Okay, the last book for the 4-star category, we're almost done, is technically a portal fantasy, but they spend most of the time in the fantasy world, so I'm including it as just mostly fantasy, even though they do get teleported from modern day times to a fantasy world. That is A Twist in Reality by Nicki Chapelway. I also got this as an ARC from the author because I am on the ARC team for the entire series. This is the first book in the Mage's War Saga series. This is being a re-released series for Nicki. This series used to be 2 separate series. It used to be My Time in Amar and Return to Amar. She has since kind of reworked some of the books. I'm pretty sure, I think all of them, but I never read the previous 2 series, so I don't have any context for it. But she has reworked them, and she's republishing them with new titles for most of them, new covers for all of them, and yeah, she is putting the 2 series together, and she's re-releasing them rapidly in the coming months. So, A Twist in Reality is the first book. This one, the basic premise is these 4 teenagers, Chelsea, Easton, Bobby, and Clint, are just living their lives in America but their weird part is these portals keep appearing and just sucking them in, dumping them in this fantasy world called Amar, and then they manage to find another portal and jump back home. However, when they're at one of their houses one day, all the kids get sucked into one portal at one time where they meet this mage in Amar, and he basically tells them that they are here in Amar to stay. They're like locked here. He is locked always back home until they complete a quest that their fathers never finished. So, yeah, that's some clear family history right there. However, before the wizard dumps them at their starting point, basically, he does not tell them what the quest is. So, now they have to take a quest in order to find out what the quest is. And none of them are happy about it. So yeah, this is the start of that journey. I would say that all 4 characters get point of view throughout this book. I would say our main characters are Chelsea and Easton. I'm pretty confident in, at least in this side of the story, because I know because in book 3 we switched to different characters for part of it. But anyways, that's another tangent for one of the future fall book videos. So stay tuned for those. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I did have some quibbles with Chelsea specifically. She did have one thing where she utterly refused to tell Easton about the fact that she and her brother Clint, because they're twins, so they have mage powers that they didn't know about, but then due to something someone says, she doesn't tell Easton about it, but then she gets targeted by a werewolf, and the whole fact that she still doesn't tell him because she's afraid of how he's gonna view her when their lives are in danger. I was just like, girl, tell him. So that frustrated me a lot. So she kind of frustrated me a bit. Like, she was kind of a worrywart, which as I get further into the series, I do realize I am very much like Chelsea. Not that I'm a worrywart, but she does have anxiety too. She does overthink things a lot, and I do the same thing. So at the same time, I'm like, you're so annoying, but then at the same time, I'm like, oh, that's me. So it's kind of like, I'm annoyed by this character, so does that mean I'm annoyed by myself? But yeah, sometimes I'm annoyed by myself, so it happens. But anyways, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. There were those quibbles though, where she kind of got in that space where she's like, I was just like, oh my gosh, girl, just tell him and just move on. And Clint and Bobby also, in turn, kind of rubbed me the wrong way occasionally. Bobby's more of a, she has more of an attitude of I don't care about things, but even though she does. So she's more of a tough girl act. That's what I'm looking for. And Clint is kind of just in his own head a lot of the times, as in, like, he just thinks he's great. So sometimes in their points of view, I was just kind of like, oh my gosh, I want to smack you too. But they're all very real, very different characters. So I really appreciate that. I really enjoyed this. I have since been continuing with the series as I get the arcs. I'm currently reading book 3 as of recording this. So yeah, I will be talking about books 2 and 3, maybe 4 and 5. I don't know. It depends on when I read them and when I do the next video. But I will be talking about the rest of the series later on. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. If you like YA sort of portal fantasy series, where it's clean and good for YA readers, but also if you're older, you can still enjoy it, I would highly recommend this series. And thank you very much again to Nicki for this arc as well. Final book on this list is the only 5-star book, which I do want to say A Twist in Reality does have a chance to, upon reread, go up in rating. For now, I'm just leaving it as a 4-star because that's how I felt at the time. But that one, out of all of these, does have the potential. Actually, A Quest for True Love might be another one. Those two have the potential to move up to a 5-star upon reread, but I tend to now give books slightly lower ratings. That way, if I do reread them and I like them more, I like the idea of more bumping up the rating rather than taking it down. I don't know. It's just a psychological thing, I guess. But anyways, the last book I'm going to be talking about in this video is the third and currently final book in the Elves of Lessa series by Shea. There's supposedly going to be, I think, at least one more, but the author hasn't written in a while. Hasn't written in this series a while, so I don't know when that one would ever be released. But either way, you can read all of these without needing that book. And that is The Prince's Bargain. This one, I love this one. So in this one, as I've explained, I'm not going to re-explain what the series is about, but this one, we follow the... how do I say this? The Crown Prince of the main kingdom. You're probably... oh, shoot. Royal Magic, he wasn't the Crown Prince. He was just the Prince. Okay, I forgot about that. So, my bad. In Royal Magic, the main guide character is just the Prince. Okay, this guy in The Prince's Bargain is the Crown Prince. I forgot about that little detail. Anyways, minor detail aside, this is actually the Crown Prince. And he needs a translator for certain things he's doing, because he needs a translator anyways because he doesn't know Elvish. But also he's trying to uncover some kind of, like, I guess it's like financial fraud or something that part of his extended family is engaging in. They think they can get away with it because they think he's a weak crown prince. He needs help, like, exposing them. and also he needs a translator at the same time because his current translator is elsewhere. And so they get from the translators circle, they get an apprentice, which is our main female character, and she is an elf. And yeah, they come on as just co-workers, so to speak, and then feelings grow over time. I originally had this book as a 4.5 star. I changed it to a 5 star because these two are just so stinking cute together. Myth and Avar, yeah, are just stinking adorable together. I love them. Myth is very bookish. She'd much rather, actually both of the characters would much rather hang out in a library than do anything, which, real goals there. I would love to just do that too. But yeah, they just want to hang out in libraries all the time. They don't really want to keep dealing with these politics things, but since he's the crown prince, what are you gonna do? He's gonna have to deal with it. And it's him coming to terms of he can be a good ruler for his kingdom. And yeah, Myth is definitely helping him to weed out these corrupt relatives of his. So I really liked it upon reread. I laughed a lot. I smiled a lot and squealed about the cute romance moments, and I just really enjoyed this one, and I would recommend it. And with that, we have come to the end of this video. I hope by the time I edit it, it's not this long. But I kind of flubbed up a few times, so yeah, there's always gonna be stuff to edit out. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do you enjoy this more new format of recent reads? I will, I don't know, try to do them more often, but filming has kind of been on the back burner recently because due to just life being nuts, I'm trying to add in more, I'm just trying to get more time for things, but it's not always working very well. So, so filming videos has kind of been the last thing on my list recently, so I apologize for that, but I will still be getting videos out to you guys. They're just going to be on a less frequent basis. It's not going to be once a week, and I'm definitely going to try for more quality of my videos over just quantity. In that sort of case. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed all my rambles about these books. Let me know down below in the comments any thoughts you have about these books you guys have read, or just anything else you want to talk about. I always love hearing from you guys, so please feel free to leave a comment down below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.